we were really harsh on Arsenal and Tottenham yesterday and the rest, and we have to say the same about United. They've got a 3-game run, which was Hull today, Leicester and Watford, before they go into the Europa League games and the Cup final, the League Cup final. That's 9 points of the chance to put on the board against 3 weaker teams. They've already fallen at the first hurdle.
Let's stick with Pogba, shall we? We give him a lot of chance, I think, on this show, because there is that feeling that people want him to succeed because we've seen flashes of how good he is. Yet they are only flashes, and in games like today, yet again, you think 100 million for this?
You want to see more productivity out of Paul Pogba. For as much as he cuts back and the step over and everything looks fancy and everything looks flashy, as you just mentioned, you want to see substance in his game. And how do you add that substance? It's not from playing long balls from deep inside your half. It's him impacting the game. And I understand where Craig is coming from in that you want to see Paul Pogba in a position where he can impact what the team does offensively, what the team does in terms of getting points, what the team does in terms of defining a game. He has to be a game changer for Manchester United. That's what they spend the money for, a game changer, not a guy who receives the ball from the center backs. Because, yes, Ander Herrera would have to be that guy. If you give me a choice, I say, Ander Herrera, you get the ball from the center backs, and if I'm Paul Pogba, I have to be in a more advanced position because I can change the game more than you can. That's what I would do if I were Paul Pogba. That's what I would do if I were Jose Mourinho.
What don't you agree with, Gab?
I don't think Mourinho views Ander Herrera or Wayne Rooney, for that matter, the way you do. I think that's actually a case of Paul Pogba saying, you know what, Carrick can do it. If I can't do it, I can have these two Muppets, either Rooney spraying the ball like in slow motion 50 yards, or Ander Herrera simply losing it, or I can get Pogba to do it. And you know what, it might not be great, but I have this guy who's 20 feet tall up front, Ibrahimovic, and we'll just go back to being a pure Route 1 team like I was in my second season at Inter, my first season at Inter, and that's fine because we're in an emergency situation. There's a few minutes left to go, and I need 3 points against Hull City.
No, but he was doing it from the beginning of the second half. And here's the deal. I haven't got a problem if teams are sitting deep to put it in the box from the halfway line and go a bit ugly and try and pick up the second balls. And here's the deal, Gab. What height is Paul Pogba? I mean, he's well...
not good in the air, though.
Do I want his skills? No, do I want his...
Paul Pogba, the Peter Crouch.
Well, sorry, his goal against was at Leicester earlier in the season from a set piece in the air was pretty good. I want to see him I want to see him on the edge of the box. If he doesn't win the header, because he's a big, strong lad, apparently, I want to see him picking up the bits and pieces. Because if anything drops on the edge of the box, I quite fancy him volleying one in, or curling one in, or crossing one in. But to have him back there in this kind of game and him dropping so deep was just nonsense.
Louis van Gaal could have been in charge today, couldn't he?
Yeah.
There's no difference to this team than the one last year.
Yeah.
Zlatan has carried this United team to where they are.
I think there is an argument to say the football has been better. That being said, there's a huge struggle to get in the top four. And they're not just the only team, but they're the team under the most pressure because of the position they're in.
And oh, by the way, Hull City could have won this game late. Markovic hits the post, and then Abel Hernandez he was playing with a hot potato. I don't know what was going on. He couldn't run away from the defender, couldn't take touches. He was in a one-on-one situation for about 50 yards and could not sort his feet out. Hull City, as organized as they were, and yes, they absorbed some pressure, they had the clear chances to win this game late.
Identity is a horrible word, but I'm going to use it here. This United team just seems to be lacking. Still.
Well,
what does this team do?
I think there's a couple of things. I mean, first of all, let's not forget, he hasn't been there very long. Their best players.
Then I'm going to throw Antonio Conte at you, so let's not even try.
No, but I think the difference is Antonio Conte didn't come into a team where you've changed your main guys. The main guys were already there, and I think Mourinho's just taking Mourinho more time to go and do that. But the other factor is, it's an age-old problem. Can you tell me a team that Zlatan Ibrahimovic has played on that has played well? I think you're going to really struggle for that.
So
Wait
a minute. You are trying to dig out and pick out the one guy that we can say is having an outstanding season for Manchester United. You're saying that he is the problem?
That is the story. No, it's not, he's not the problem.
Well, it sounds like that's what you're saying.
No, but he's not the problem. The problem is...
Okay, so what are you saying then?
The problem is if you have Zlatan Ibrahimovic, your teams tend not to play well. They'll be successful, which is why he's won so many titles, but they don't necessarily... as a team, you don't necessarily play well, which is why some of the teams he's been on have been some of the most horrible teams to watch.